Director of the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban, Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Mr. Tando Mchlangu, Nolia Mabele, Ms. Susanna Fa, Dr. R.T. Govender, Mr. Sipiwe Mchunu, Mr. Piyush Khandalwal, distinguished guests and online viewers, Namaskar and welcome to a very beautiful day indeed, the Africa Day celebrations, with the theme being Come Together for Healthy and Happy Life in Africa. To commence today's program, I would like to invite our first guest speaker, and that is Ms. Vinolia Mabele. Ms. Vinolia Mabele is a social cohesion advocate, and welcome her today on the celebrations of Africa Day. Welcome, ma'am, for your remarks.
Thank you very much for the lovely introduction, Program Director. I'm very honored. Dr. Govender, Mr. Mchunu, Ms. Fa, and Ms. Hari Narain, to our viewers that are watching us from all over Africa and in the world, Dumelang, Rialocha, Sanibonani, Absheni, Tobela, I greet you all in the spirit of Umama Charlotte Matleke. As Cabinet has declared 2021 the year of Mam Charlotte Matleke, I thought it's fitting to acknowledge a very incredible female African leader who has come before us as we celebrate this very important day in Africa. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you and the whole of the world on Africa Day with the theme Come Together for a Healthy and Happy Life in Africa. A very, very much needed statement, especially during these trying times of the pandemic. We really need to be promoting such. So Africa Day was formed by the OAU on May 25 in 1963. And this marks the beginning of what would later be known as Africa Day. It is intended to celebrate and acknowledge African solidarity, unity in diversity, creativity, challenges, and successes. And those are some of the words that are also incorporated in the AU anthem, which I would like to urge each and every one of us to get acquainted with, because that is how we will get to move Africa forward. When I founded the African Ambassador Organization, I wanted to focus on creating ongoing awareness on Pan-Africanism and fostering the culture of unity and, of course, being anti-xenophobic. It is about ongoing conversations on social media for Africans, particularly young Africans in Africa, South Africa, and the African diaspora, to drive change, as it is crucial for South Africa to recognize and celebrate Africa Month religiously, and to ensure that the programs of the Africa Day and Africa Month are aligned with those of the AU. So young people today are losing touch with their African heritage as we move towards globalization. However, we are also witnessing a gradual transformation, with Africans wanting to own the narrative, with Africans wanting to reclaim their identity. And I think that is very, very imperative as we get to a place where we want to promote a healthy and happy life in Africa. It's about getting rooted to our identity, as opposed to the concept of Africa Day being celebrated only in Africa Day or Africa Month. The concept of African Ambassador is about promoting the concept of Africa Day throughout the year. And that is why our slogan is #Make Every Day Africa Day. Young people do have the voices. They have the power to drive change. They are the leaders of technology, and they are tomorrow's leaders. And we depend on each and every African to drive this message and make sure that it is spread across. For us as Africans to be united in promoting a healthy and happy life in Africa, we need to first start by driving our energies towards achieving the objectives of the Agenda 2063. The Africa that we want. We need to take the baton that was left by our past great leaders, such as Kwame Nkrumah, and drive with it and run with them. We need to start buying local. As you can see, I am wearing local, because it's very important for us to preserve our economy and to strengthen it, and to make sure that the economy creates jobs in Africa for Africans. We need to make sure that we need to make it our business to know what is happening in other countries in Africa, because whatever problems that other African nations are faced with, they do affect us in one way or another. One passport, one currency, a borderless continent, that is what we need. We need to strengthen our health systems, of course. We need to start growing crops and growing our own food. We need to stand united as Africans. When siblings, there's that saying that goes, when siblings are divided, they allow the enemy to take over their wealth. For this year's Africa Day, African Ambassador will be hosting its 3rd annual Africa Month celebration on a virtual platforms, and we will be giving all young people in the arts and in the art industries, from chefs to designers, to showcase their work and their craft. And that is also one way of us to experience what a typical day in Africa should look like, of the Africa that we want, the Africa that we aspire for, where we have a railway. We are still looking forward to that day where we have a railway from Cape Town to Cairo. Let us come together for a healthy and happy Africa. I would like to wish each and everyone a happy Africa Day and happy Africa Month, and let us make every day Africa Day. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vanolia Mabela, for those very profound remarks on this occasion of Africa Day. Next, joining us live from Kigali is Ms. Susanna Fa, and Susanna G is the CEO of the Gold Youth Development AG. Namaskar and welcome, Ms. Susanna Fa, for your remarks today in celebrating Africa Day.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and to all my fellow colleagues here. I was deeply inspired by my sister's speech, and what I think resonated so much with me is, how do we make every day Africa Day? So I really, perhaps to just give some context to the work that I've had the privilege of being involved with. I'm part of an organization, Gold Youth Development Agency, and really at the heart of the work that we're doing, it's really mobilizing young people. We're working in 5 African nations, but with a strong footprint in South Africa, established in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, and I'm in Rwanda, where we've got a more recent footprint. And just seeing young people in Africa knowing that their lives have purpose and that they have equal value to you and I here today, and our viewers. And, you know, the majority of our young people are still born into poverty, growing up in communities where, for them, they look around and they visibly offer no hope. And yet, imagine the impact if 200 million young people who for them that story is still real, understood that their lives have purpose and that value is there. And as Gold Youth Development Agency, or Gold Youth for short, we see the gold in every young person. For us, the hope for Africa lies in how we invest in its young people. There isn't a plan B. We're going to be, in the decades to come, 4 billion people in Africa. So that's amazing. And you know, I think when we came today to celebrate Africa Day, the energy and the potential, the social and economic potential of our young people is really the driver of the hope for our continent. We have sunshine, we have soil, we have this population explosion that in one sense may, you know, to some be viewed as this youth bulge crisis at the base of the pyramid. And yet we're saying, and we're asking of everyone, let's change that narrative. Let's change the narrative to see that the young people on the ground as those that can lead us forward, drive us forward, and see the continent of Africa showing the rest of the world what servant leadership, community, Ubuntu, unity is all about. And I think what gets me up in the morning is when we see young people in Africa from not just South Africa, from the various nations in Southern Africa and recently in East Africa, starting to see themselves as continental, starting to realize that we're part of a continent that will be so much more powerful when we start to become unified and we start to realize that in that diversity and in our differences, there's a multiply, there's almost this compound interest that happens when we build on each other's strengths and we learn from each other's weaknesses. And I think there are times in our history where we've perhaps looked to the West that hasn't had the answers for Africa, rather than looking to our brothers and sisters across our borders who have perhaps got stories and incredible lessons for us to build on. And I think that's the inspiration that young people today are starting to give to, I think, adults, and some of our most educated adults are often not as powerful as a young teenager who can reach their peers. And so what we've done, we are not rocket scientists in gold, but we have realized the power of young people reaching other young people. And we're harnessing this incredible influence where young people can have that personal change that leads to community change, that starts to have a very powerful, almost tipping point at a community level. And we've seen even youth from the toughest circumstances, when they understand that they can be part of something bigger than themselves, something rises up and they want to be that force for change. So we'd love any young person across South Africa, and we're also opening this up to youth from other nations to see the social cohesion campaign that we're collaborating with the Department of Arts and Culture on in South Africa. But we're really wanting to amplify the voices of young people through production of great speeches in Africa. An example being Thabo Mbeki's I'm an African. And there's some others in the pipeline that we'll be releasing in the next couple of weeks, but we're getting young people at grassroots across the nation and in communities to start sharing their poetry, sharing their songs, sharing their spoken word of what nation building looks to them and what really the theme of social cohesion. But for us to be happy, to be healthy, we have to live with purpose. We have to understand that I may be going through a tough circumstance and I might not be able to change what's happened to me, but I can respond to that in a way that builds resilience. And we've seen time and time again in the thousands, young people, when they are inspired with vision, they're able to not just make better choices around their own health, but they're also able to become that negative peer pressure that is now a positive force for change. So I'm a great believer in the future of Africa because I see the caliber of young people. Let's see our young people differently on this Africa Day. Let's see that Africa is going to be a young continent that the rest of the world can look to. We have a low base on which to leapfrog and learn and build. We don't want to be like the rest of the world. We want to be truly African and come into our full potential. And we need all of our thoughts and ideas to come together. So let's be part of changing the narrative so that we can see the social and economic potential of our continent harnessed. We're moving young people from being passive recipients of almost negative norms to becoming proactive agents of social and economic change who don't just assume the role of empowering themselves, but also of their peers, to become those ethical leaders of tomorrow on a continent that is beautiful. We have beautiful people, we're diverse, we're different. So what a wonderful day to celebrate our extraordinary continent and really to amplify the voice of the majority of our continent, which is its young people. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Susanna, for those very motivating remarks on this very beautiful occasion of Africa Day. We've come to our next part of the program where we'd like to invite our next guest speaker, and that is Dr. R.T. Govender, who is a social cohesion advocate. Namaste and welcome, Dr. Govender.
Namaste and namaste to the consulate, all the staff and all the participants in this very, very interesting webinar on Come Together for a Healthy and Happy Life in Africa. Firstly, before I start, I just want to tell the listeners that are listening in South Africa, Africa, and the rest of the world, the Social Cohesion Advocates Program that have been instituted by the Department of Arts and Culture is bringing a whole lot of people together that are like-minded to promote social cohesion and nation building in South Africa, so that we all strive towards being human again and one humanity. So that's basically what the Advocates Program is. Right now, the topic today, Come Together for a Healthy and Happy Life in Africa, is indeed a very interesting topic, because much to the misconception about Africa by most people around the world that it's a very dark continent and it's so backward, I want to say that Africa is distinctively unique continent among all the continents in the world. It has a diverse culture, rich in cultural and heritage diversity, and it has a wealth of natural resources, and obviously it offers breathtaking tourist attractions. Right, now, there are a number of characteristics that make Africa stand out to the rest of the continents in the world. Firstly, our resilience. Contrary to popular belief, adversity has benefited us greatly in Africa. Slavery, colonization, institutionalized racism, poverty, famine, the AIDS epidemic, and more recently the COVID-19 pandemic were all meant to kill us, but have only made us stronger in Africa. Because we have gone through the worst, we are stronger mentally, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. It's the type of people that we are in this continent. Secondly, the next important point is our natural resources. Since the beginning, Africa has been blessed with an enormous quantity of natural resources. It is the envy of other continents. Many of its precious metals remain undiscovered or barely harnessed in this thing. So therefore, the natural resources are an important characteristic. Then, most importantly, our human resources. It is stated statistically and scientifically that by 2050, my colleague Venolia mentioned 2063, we are going to strive towards being a totally unique continent. But it's said by 2050, it is estimated that Africa will have a larger and younger workforce than even China or India. More people equals more talent, and more talent equals more growth. More children also means that more products have to be produced, such as food, clothing, and furniture. And I must say, Africa has the capacity to do that. Likewise, more schools and homes have to be built, which economically benefits the education and construction industries. An increased population inevitably leads to a larger domestic market. Organizations like the Goal Youth that Susanna Farbilong are working tirelessly to ensure that the youth are given top priority so that they can fit comfortably in the continent and the aspirations of a new Africa. Then another very important aspect is our spirituality in Africa. With such a diversity in terms of religion, traditional belief systems, indigenous knowledge systems, Africa is a continent rich in spirituality. Wherever you go, the majority of people's lives are governed to a small or large extent by a higher power, Nkulunkulu. While religion has brought much good and bad to the world, spirituality has only brought good. And by some estimates, Africa is the most spiritual place in the world. Even those who don't subscribe to a particular religion believe in a higher power in Africa. The benefits? Even the science community has admitted there are rewards with the spirituality in Africa. To the marvel of many, despite being poor, we are very gracious, grateful, optimistic, humane, and fulfilled in this continent. What would kill others, we endure with a smile, and our spirituality is responsible for that smile. Then, the next very important characteristic is our rich culture and heritage. Many have tried to mock, undermine, and even destroy the African heritage and culture, but to no avail. It is indisputable that Africa has the richest culture, one that goes back to the beginning of civilization itself. As you all know, Africa is known as a cradle of civilization. It includes the way we respect life and the way we honor the dead, the way we celebrate children, and at the same time, highly regard our elders, the way we esteem knowledge and revere wisdom, the way we conduct ourselves in both private and in public, and the way we treat foreigners, as well as live amongst ourselves. Without our culture, there is no doubt that Africa would have fallen a long time ago. A nation or a people without a heritage will not last for long, no matter how great or prosperous that country is or that nation is. But a nation or a people will thrive, no matter how unexceptional or poor. Then our history. When ancient kings conquered a people and took over the land, one of the things they would do is burn down their libraries in order to erase not only the history, but also the sense of self. We, of all people in Africa, have the grandest history, mathematics, science, literature, philosophy, and arts that can all trace the beginnings to Africa. With this in our minds, we can meet the future with a smile, no matter how bleak or bright our victory is certain, not only in our minds, but also in our hearts. Then, when it comes to that very, very important word, the buzzword in the political arena, democracy. Democracy in Africa is on the rise. Democracy has been steadily rising in Africa. As the masses have realized, they cannot put their destinies in the hands of only one party or ruler. To the chagrin of those with tyrannical ambitions, democracy and will continue to bring freedom, equality, justice, and responsible government to the masses. Then we have a very high literacy rate in Africa. It is undisputable, despite the fact that many people believe otherwise. But Africa, the adult literacy rate in 1990 showed that Africa was 53%. By 2015, it was estimated to be at about 63%, and it is steadily rising. And yes, our beautiful climate, like Susanna mentioned that she's in Kageli and we are in Durban, and we have a very warm, beautiful climate. Since time immemorial, people have tended to migrate to warmer climates. Africa, being the hottest continent on earth, makes it very attractive. You don't have the same worries as those in cold climates. And also, nature and wildlife is undisputed. People flock to Africa, whether you are a celebrity from the Hollywood or Bollywood industry or any politician from other countries, they flock to the Kruger National Park, to other very, very beautiful sites in different parts of Africa where they are exposed to wildlife, the scenery, the vegetation, etc. Then we have improved educational institutions that are doing their utmost to ensure that Africa's education systems are improved so that we can be better again. So basically, colleagues, with that characteristics, it is undisputable that Africa is obviously, like the theme says, come to Africa for a healthy and happy life. And we are striving by all means to find solutions. Advocate Venolia Mabele is with the organization that is striving to develop leaderships. They are striving to make sure that gender-based violence is broken and cut together altogether. Everybody is doing the best. In other words, we are finding African solutions for African problems. We don't need others to come and help us to solve our problems. We have the capacity, we have the tenacity, we have the willpower and the determination to make Africa a beautiful country to live in. At this point in time, I'd like to say from all the people of Africa, South Africa and Africa, we would like to wish India well during this very, very tumultuous period. It is the darkest period in human history, and India is a victim of this crisis in terms of COVID-19. People are dying daily. So India, we are saying from Africa, we all pray for you. We pray for you. We pray for your leadership and for all the people. We know that this crisis will soon be eradicated and India will once again be there high above and providing leadership to all other countries. Thank you so much for this platform.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Raj Govinder, for that very dynamic remarks today on Africa Day and for those beautiful facts as well. That said, we've come to the conclusion of today's celebrations, being Africa Day, and I'd like to call upon Mr. C.P. Mchunu from the Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban to render this evening's vote of thanks.
Namaskar. Greetings to all of you. On behalf of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center at the Consulate General of India in Durban, I am so honored today to deliver a vote of thanks on today's program, Africa Day celebrations, with the theme coming together for healthy and happy life in Africa. Allow me to thank our online guest. I will start with Advocate Vinolia Mabele from Social Cohesion Advocate. Secondly, I'd like to thank Ms. Susanna Farr. She's a CEO of Gold Youth Development Agency. And lastly, I'd like to thank Dr. Archie Govinder from the Social Cohesion Advocate. To all of them, I'd like to say thank you very much. I was just listening to all of whatever you said this evening. It gives us hope as an African that there is a hope for Africa and the future for Africa, it is bright. I will quote what Amilcar Cabral has said. Is from Guinea. He said, no matter how hot is the water from the well, it will never cook the rice. No matter how we talk, if we don't roll up our sleeves, there will be no change in Africa. It requires all of us not only to say the good rhetorics, but to do action, to roll up our sleeves so that the future for our kids, so that the future of our children, all will be bright. And when they see the light in the end of the tunnel, they will say that light, it is bringing hope to us as Africans. So it requires all of us, irrespective, because in Africa, God gave us this thing whereby we embrace. Whoever is in Africa is like one of us. Whoever is residing in the continent is an African. African has that God gave them that to accommodate. We treat each other as a human race. So whatever I had today, as a father, as a husband, it gives me hope that the future of Africa, the continent, it is bright. As Dr. Govinder has said, Africa is blessed. One of the richest countries in the world, it is in Africa, Democratic Republic of Congo. The largest country in Africa, which is now Algeria, it also has the resources. All the Maghreb countries in northern part of Africa, God bless them. All the central countries in Africa, God bless them. All the countries in sub-Sahara, God had time. He blessed all those countries. So it is all up to us to roll our sleeves and protect this continent. It is all up to us to play our role in our lives. As one man from Nigeria, a famous man, he's a writer, they asked, he was talking in the city of Lagos, he was saying, I contributed to the freedom of Africa. And then they asked him, how can you claim that you contributed in the freedom of Africa, of South Africa? He told them, he said, my contribution was very, to your eyes, it may be not important. I decided not to buy an apple from South Africa. That was my contribution. So it means now, whatever small thing that you contribute in the upliftment of Africa, it means a lot. By that man not buying an apple from South Africa during apartheid time, he took a stand. He played his role. No matter how we play our role, small or big, the ocean is big because small rivers, they all run to the ocean. So all our contributions that you can do, it will contribute to the upliftment of Africa. Once again, to all of you, I'd like to say to Advocate Vinolia Mabweleji, thank you, ma'am. What you said about Africa that we know, we really appreciate. To Susanna Faraji, ma'am, whatever you said, it adds value. Dr. Arti Gavenda, what you said, thank you very much. You gave us hope in Africa. To Dr. Chaitanya Prakash Yogi, Director of Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center, I'd like to say thank you very much, sir, for opening this opportunity for us as Africans to voice out what we know about Africa. And we really appreciate what Swami Vivekananda at the Consulate General of India is doing to touch all lives in South Africa. Sristi Harayangji, thank you, ma'am, for taking part on today. Piyush Kandelwal, thank you, sir, for taking part on today's program. To all those who participated online, I'd like to say thank you for taking part today. You are kindly advised to visit Swami Vivekananda Cultural Center Facebook page so that you will be updated about all cultural activities organized by SVCC in Durban. Once again, to our online guests, Danyavat, thank you to all of you. Have a wonderful evening. Namaskar.